Time for some Canada talk. It's Oh Canada, Oh Baby, presented by CIBC. We're calling this a new cycle for the Canadian men's national team post-Copa America. This is what the next year in the build-up to next summer's CONCACAF Gold Cup looks like. Friendlies, this in the next window. Nations League in November through March. Some prep games in June of 2025. Then the CONCACAF Gold Cup next summer. We cannot wait for that. We're going to ask, there's a lot of football to be played, and I'm sure plenty of change will happen over the course of the next 10 months or so as well. So let's go through some rapid fire questions to ask you guys how you think it may play out. So the first rapid fire question when it comes to Canada, the men's national team, who will be Canada's most valuable player in the year ahead? Jordan Wilson.
I'm going to say Eustachio.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think him in the midfield, I think he's a mainstay. I think when you're looking at this midfield and how they're going to play going forward, he's a player that you kind of build around. I know Kone's exciting, who maybe plays in there with him, but Eustachio for me is the tempo man. Based
on the position and the lack of depth at that role, easy case to make. What about you, John?
It's going to be whoever's going to be scoring goals. For me, Jonathan David or Kyle Larin. Listen, they didn't get enough goal scoring at Copa America. But for me, whoever's scoring the goals is going to be the next most valuable player for this team.
Just wonder, David's going to have a huge role. Laren's worth to keep an eye on based on style of play and the fact that there are a number of options and options that may be added to in terms of the striker positions in upcoming windows as well. Question 2, who will be Canada's breakout player this cycle? John?
Bombito. What can he bring to the defense? Can he keep building on what he's already done in this big move? Can he continue to be the guy that Jesse Marsh thinks he can be? I think that's going to be the guy that's going to break out and be the guy this year.
Jordan?
It's hard to argue with that and say, bro, I'll say Cornelius as well. But honestly, Alistair Johnston, you think about the way that he was the Copa America, the way that Marsh has such an aggressive, pressing 1v1 battle system. A guy like Alistair Johnston who's killing it for Celtic, and that's just a part of the way he plays. I think he could have a breakout little window as well.
He was actually my Canada's most valuable player.
Just stop hanging out.
And who Canada's breakout player could be. I think that Alistair Johnston's on fine form and a player I'm watching. Bombito, the kicker, is just how much he'll play. He was sent off on the weekend with Nice. Yeah. It's going to be a little bit of a transition for him. But Canada needs players in that position, and he's certainly an important one. The player you think that has something to prove in the months ahead. Who's got something to prove, Jordan?
I'll make the case for Jacob Schafferberg. I know everyone was singing his praises, and he had a sensational Copa America and showed just what he could do. But the beauty about it, we've all played, we've all covered it. There are people out there saying this is a fluke. This was him getting good at the right time, and can he back it up? I hope that he does. I believe that he can. So this is a great little window for him.
No fluke. Whoever's saying that.
There are no whispers. There are no whispers.
Who has something to prove, John?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Max Crepeau.
Good one.
I think Max Crepeau has been excellent. He won the #1 shirt. He's been a backup for this team for a long time. Now it's his. So what is he going to do with it? He had a great Copa America, I thought. And I think this year he's going to need to prove that he can do it for this team for the long term.
Some people say it's a lock. This is Crepeau's job. I still think that it's up for grabs. I think that it's there for someone to take. Perhaps I'm way wrong on that. So Kyle Larin leads Canada's all-time goal scoring for the national team with 29. Jonathan David, he is 28. The question is, who reaches 35 first? One of these two or perhaps someone else? Which would take something.
I think it's Larin. I know that might be an unpopular opinion.
Really?
But these games at BMO, you're going to go play Panama on probably a cold night in Toronto. There's one man who I feel like will finish these opportunities. And you know what? And I think David might be right there with 34. I kind of hope that. But I still feel like Larin up top in that position will be the guy that's banging in goals.
John?
Yeah, I think, well, I want both of them to get it.
Sure.
Tie for 35, baby.
Tie for 30.
Someone's got to get there first, though.
Yeah, shoot. Somebody gets it first. I'm going to go with David. Whoever gets it first. I want them I need both of them to eclipse the 35 mark this year and score goals aplenty.
Yeah, I'm looking at Jonathan David. Sometime between now and the Gold Cup would be fantastic. All right, crystal ball time. What will Canada's biggest achievement be over the next year? John? Houdini? Or...
Yeah, it's a good one. Gold Cup final.
Does Houdini look into a crystal ball?
Getting to it or winning it?
They're going to get to the final.
Okay.
get to the final of the Gold Cup?
Yes.
Wow.
I
Jordan?
think they're winning Nations League.
You think so?
And I hope that they do. This is one when we watch them lose to the U.S., I keep talking about it, and that was the time where I'm like, we're there, but we're not quite there yet. If they can go past that hump, then it gets exciting.
The Gold Cup would be awesome, but based on the way that the last Nations League played out, I think there's something to really prove for this group collectively in the Nations League this time around. And finally, how many debates will we have this year about the position that Alphonso Davies should play for Canada?
Well, what? Let's maybe we're gonna play 12 games for Canada, probably every single time they're about to play. So I'm gonna say a dozen.
Yeah.
12 is my answer.
Yeah, there's
Every
I
time.
go with 12 too. We're going to be debating it every time. Like, is this the best play for him? Can he be someplace else? I just think it's going to be the talking point because he is the best player in Canada.
And then as we look at situations, right, when we talk about Sam Adekugbe being fresh and then now he's not playing, and then you're like, okay, well, you could maybe flirt with a few things, but now it pretty much seems simple to put him back at left back.
Davies always is a must follow just in terms of him and his skill set and his talent, but what's going on at Bayern Munich, something to truly follow. Didn't start on the weekend for Bayern Munich in the final year of his contract. There's plenty to decide, and I just wonder what that means for him over the course of this next year. It's a big year for Davies. It's a big year for Canada. This next cycle kicks off next Saturday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Pre-match coverage begins at 3:30. Then Tuesday night against Mexico in Arlington, Texas. So a nice week-long camp and build-up to 2 statement games against CONCACAF rivals with new managers. We are your home for the Canadian national teams right here on One Soccer.